I read something from Mike McCarthy or heard something from Mike McCarthy over the weekend talking about today and tomorrow. And he said, these are the worst days. The next 48 hours is clearly the worst part of the job. Is that the way you feel in terms of you have to let go of so many people y'all have seen and gotten to know? Or have you been able to are you able to detach yourself from that and focus on the business aspect of talent acquisition and evaluation?
No, you don't ever detach yourself from it in terms of just having such appreciation for what these 90 guys going to 85, going to 80, going to 53. The great news is there's going to be, there's a lot of different injury lists and things like that. So the numbers that are not going to be involved at all are getting fewer and far between in terms of, we're probably going to have over 70 guys around when you count the practice squad and some of the injury lists. So thank goodness there's not a ton of them, but for the guys who've laid it on the line out there who, are going to have to walk away from here and not have any type of spot on our team, you just, your heart felt, because we all know this is a very rough, tough, physical game. And, these guys have dreams and it is difficult. And I don't think you ever detach yourself from that. Now, at the same time, it is a business, and that's the tough part of it. It's a business that you got to make the right decisions for their overall team, but it doesn't keep you from having compassion and passion and, heartfelt for the guys who are, that the dream's not going to work out here.
Stephen, with the backup quarterback situation, did either of the guys out of the three, did they put themselves in position? Did they separate themselves from each other at all? Did they make this decision easy for you?
Yeah, I just think it's it's a very competitive situation. Obviously not going to speak to any detail right now. Certainly we're going to go over that, and it'd be very unfair to get ahead of this. But I thought Gilbert really rebounded after a tough game in Houston. And then, Cooper had tough duty going against their ones, and of course we didn't have our top 40 players playing in the game, so that was difficult chore for Cooper, but I thought he hung in there well. I thought the whole group hung in there well, but that'll just be a decision that and a tough one that we'll make here in the coming hours, and both guys are just class acts. They're even better people off the field than they are on the field, and certainly are men that are going to have, I'm sure if it's not here, an opportunity to play somewhere else, whatever decision we make.
Talking with Stephen Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan. I want to get back into some of those, some roster stuff and this weekend's game, but I wanted to ask you the unfortunate situation, obviously, we're all watching play out in New Orleans. And New Orleans is going to come down to the stadium to practice. Did you all reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Can you tell us anything about those conversations and how this decision got made?
Yeah, Sean and Peyton and Mickey Loomis reached out to us and asked if they could practice here in Dallas. And as it turned out, we did have our stadium available, and they were able to secure accommodations, and just great that we're able to help them. And like you said, it's just a heartbreaking situation, what's going on to, everybody there in South Louisiana and more. And, you just, it's just a very, very difficult for anybody living in that area. And our prayers go out to all the families, and certainly, even for the ones who ended up leaving, certainly they're on pins and needles when you think about your home being in harm's way. That's a difficult situation, and you certainly pray for the ones who weren't able to get out for whatever the reason, that they hopefully work their way through it and are able to make their way through this storm and come out the back end. But certainly we want to do anything and everything we can to help the Saints organization. We obviously have great proximity to their market, and want to do anything and everything we can to help them.
Stephen, I know that you have a lot of coaches, a lot of scouts. Will McClay is right there with you. I was wondering this. Obviously, Sunday you have your game at noon, and you're watching that game pretty intently. You're going to meet with coaches and stuff on that. but there's 15 other preseason games. And I know you can kind of watch them in about an hour, hour and a half with, getting through the commercials and stuff like that. How many hours or how many games do you watch after your game is over and you have time to sit down? Because obviously starting today, tomorrow and stuff, you have to look at not only your guys, but if somebody gets released off of another team, and I know a lot of scouts give you that information. I was just wondering how many opinions do you have on other players, on other teams in those situations?
Well, it's fun to watch the games. I'll give you that. It's very difficult to see what's going on, especially with the line group, without having, the end zone views and the tape that you get when you get the tape on a ball game. I mean, certainly as they should be, they're focused on the ball. So you're seeing the quarterbacks and you're seeing the receivers and the running backs, but it's hard to really tell what's going on in either line unless, of course, you're seeing a player make a sack and then, of course, the defensive players that are making plays on the ball. But you certainly enjoy watching it. Certainly watch the part of the San Francisco game there to the end after we were through with our game, and then the Giants and the Pats played, which was interesting as well. But you really got to get in there and look at the tape, and our scouts do a great job of that, going through all the guys who through communications we've been told to take a look at to see if we'd have any interest, and then of course we do our own homework, if you will, in terms of seeing who are backups and who are going to be on that bubble, if you will, and watching those guys, trying to get prepared well in advance before the waiver wire hits. The good news was some teams playing on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Some of the teams are already starting to make their cuts, and you're able to start to look at some of these guys. So it's a very interesting time of year. We do have, as you said, a great staff that work under Will McClay that, they didn't even attend our game. They know our team's gotten to see it well, so they were already starting to look at a lot of the other preseason tape and keep their eye on the games. But sometimes it's tough to get a good feel for things off the television.
Malik Hooker's name has kind of been very intriguing because he got into camp late, and then this was his first opportunity to really see him on the field and do some things. But I heard Mike McCarthy say, well, he's hit every post that we've asked him to. He's gone, he's all the targets we've asked, he's gotten to that. Is that enough to be on this team or to have a projection of what he will be through the season, or is there still more to see from him?
No, I mean, we knew what we were getting into when we signed him this late in the game. He was wanting to do more work to see where he was going to be when the season started, and then made the decision he was ready to sign. And we had a good visit earlier when we had brought Kazee in with him, and just really feel like if you look at his full body of work, what we thought of him coming out of Ohio State, when he's been healthy, the work that he did there at Indianapolis, he made a lot of plays on the ball, and us just wanting to get a feel for A, that he's healthy, and B, that we see there up on him getting in football shape. And as you said, you saw him play a full half there yesterday. As Mike said, he's hit all the posts, and we feel good about Malik.
How do you guys feel about the general health of the team after the preseason? Because we always hear just make it through healthy. And yesterday, I guess a concussion evaluation for Malik Turner, Kelvin Joseph, leg or groin injury. Any updates on those two? And then how do you feel about the general health of the team coming out of the preseason?
In general, I think we've made it through really well. And, Mike does an outstanding job of keeping up with their reps and their GPS numbers and really trying to protect these guys. I mean, there's no way you ever go through any preseason. I can't remember us doing it, and I would beg I'd like to see if any team's ever gone through it without any injuries. But so you're always going to have something. But I think overall we're really pleased. I mean, obviously you got a Neville Gallimore who's going to start on an injured list to return. You got the disappointment that Chauncey and Golston and Ball didn't get a ton of reps in training camp. That's a tough one because obviously we picked them high, and certainly they've got some work still to do in terms of they'll be on injured lists as well. But in general, I would say overall, when you look at who we're going to be counting on to to actually beat the Buccaneers. Certainly, Neville's probably our toughest loss at this point.
I know, Stephen, you have a lot of rookies that you're counting on this season to help you out, especially defensively. How easy, tough, I don't know exactly how to put it, but the patience that you have to have with rookies, that you know that there's talent there, but for them to really contribute consistently in an NFL game, you just talk about maybe the patience that you have to have and know that it's there. We just have to wait on it.
Yeah. Well, some of them, are unique and they're ready to go. And you love it when you get your hands on those guys. Then, your next thing you do, especially on draft picks that you obviously thought a lot of or you wouldn't have picked them, then there has to be some handicapping going on. And there's, if they're competing against a veteran player who's played games in this league, there's a chance if you're needing a player to be the very best against the Buccaneers that veteran would have been a little better. But if he's probably not going to dress because, he's the sixth receiver or he's the ninth offensive lineman or he's the 10th defensive lineman, then that's when you really start to handicap, the young guys in terms of their future, what it means to your salary cap. You have to handicap those guys over some of those journey veteran minimum guys in terms of how you look at them. But you just got to bring them along, and hopefully they get a chance to do that, and they just keep getting better, which is usually what you see. And now what you do want to see in training camp is you want to see that arrow up, that, hey, from the first day of camp till the last day of camp, this guy just kept getting better. And, if that's the trend, usually that continues to be the trend. They keep trending up, and then when they get their opportunity, they get in there and they do a good job.
Now, speaking of rookies, when we saw Micah Parsons and Trevor Lawrence exchange jerseys, did you just kind of think they were swapping out offensive and defensive rookie of the year's jerseys right there?
I'll take that. I will say this. We've loved Micah, and what I saw on the field from Trevor Lawrence, good luck to anybody else in the league taking that award away from him if he plays like he did against us.
God, yeah, he absolutely looks like he has it right now. Now, we've heard a couple whispers, Stephen, about potential trades. When you're at this point, are you trying to pick up the phone and say, hey, we got a guy we would like to swap here? How do those conversations work out, and are there guys that you could consider trading on this team?
Yeah, I mean, everybody pays attention to where people are having injuries or where they might have a need. And, we've got a great communication going out there, great network with all the teams, different relationships, whether it's Will, myself, Jerry, Coach McCarthy, everybody, has great communication going on right now. And that's really what you're looking for. People, certainly can turn on our tape and see where we might belong with some young players, and they might be willing to go to a place. Obviously, losing Rico was a tough one for us, Dowdle, and it doesn't take a rocket science then to look and see, well, they might need a third running back. So you lose a McKeon, our third tight end, and they may say, hey, they may need something there. Obviously, we brought in Sprinkle to bring depth there, but that's just, in general, that's how those conversations go.
So you don't think I should just start listing players and you'll give me some sort of sign if that's one of the players?
I think we can save that.
All right, but you just blink twice. That's usually our code, Stephen. Every year we do a blink twice.
Do you see me blinking?
Absolutely.
and the last thing I was just kind of curious about in terms of logistics for tomorrow, because we have a rabid Cowboys Nation and listeners right here, is how do y'all determine, when, I know you have to make the cuts by 3:00, but do you try to make them in one giant wave? Do you make the cuts throughout the day? How do you think that's going to balance out tomorrow?
Usually it's one wave. And now some guys, we may start to communicate to them starting tonight, tomorrow, but in general, we'll put them on the wire there tomorrow at 3:00.
All right. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate it. Good luck over the next couple of days. I know it's going to be very, very busy for one of our biggest Tolos.
Well, sounds great. I love the Tolo, baby.
There you go. Thank you very much, Stephen.
All right. Take care, guys.